as well. We've got one planned in March and one in April, all with Sue. So those are exciting, and they're on our website. You guys can get signed up. We'll have events for May, June, and July also will be on the website here in the next week. So that way you can kind of look through all the different months in our events and choose what works for you. The event in May is going to be a 3-hour, we're going to try an in-person event. So that one's going to have limited seats just because we don't want too many people in the same room, obviously. So just look out for that one. And that one will be open for a limited amount of time for a limited amount of signups. And it'll be worth 3 CE credits. And you can sign up for 2 different offices, for our St. John's office or for our Mandarin office for that May event. So thank you all for joining. I'm glad that you all took some time out to do this with us today. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you. And if you would do me a favor and watch the chat, because I won't be able to see it while I'm running the PowerPoint. So
Absolutely.
Good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about creating a business plan. So how many of you actually have a written business plan already? Anybody have a written business plan? Okay, well, I will tell you that the Harvard Business says that in order to be successful at what you do, you need to have a written business plan. And they say 90% of all people who have a business plan written down will be successful. So kind of want to talk about some things that will help you to establish your business plan. And, this is a good one to have this year because we're, only into February. So if you don't have one already, it's a good time to start thinking about what you would like to include. So we're going to start with a SWOT analysis, and we're going to talk about your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So your strength would be any specific skills that you have, any credentials that you have, any referrals that you have, any connections in a particular population that position you as an obvious choice. So, think about, what kind of organizations do you belong to? Do you have a really good referral base built up that you can tap into on a regular basis? Any specific skills? One of the things we've been talking about lately is whether or not we're going to see any short sales. I think some of you came to the short sale webinar we had, and one of the things is that you can be certified through the National Association of Realtors to be a short sale specialist. You can be certified through the National Association to be a senior specialist, people who work with senior citizens. So those are the things you want to think about is, what kind of strengths can I build up in order to, help me grow my business. Weaknesses, what do you think your competition does better? Do you think you need to gain, new credentials? Is there something else that you could learn to do? Right now, for many of us, and I'm going to say, I'm going to include myself, transitioning from live to social has been somewhat difficult. I'm almost 70 years old, and I don't know a lot about social media platforms, and young people are living on social media. They're on Instagram, they're on LinkedIn, they're on Facebook. They're all living in that virtual world. And so, sometimes you have to say, is that a weakness for me that I have people that I can't reach because I'm not in that virtual world? What am I missing out? I always say, if you want to know more about that kind of thing, to ask a teenager, because they can really help you, build that, or find a college student that's, in that field and see if they'll help you, build a good website. Build a good online presence, because that's where younger people are looking. And in fact, right now, that's where everybody's going, is because, how many face-to-face do you really have? I mean, think about it. We've seen people buy houses sight unseen, right? They haven't even looked at the house. Somebody was telling me the other day that they sold, did a closing for people from Canada 6 months ago. The people still haven't seen the house because they can't come down here because they can't get back to Canada. So, think about what is your weakness? What would you like to know how to do better? What do you think your competitors are doing that's helping them that might be hindering you? Where's your opportunities? Where's our market headed? Now, we kind of talked about that. Where is our market headed? How can you participate in that? And we know right now that, everybody was like, oh, I like to work with sellers. I like to work with sellers, but there's not many sellers out there. There's more buyers than sellers. But you have to look at the opportunities of who might be thinking about selling. A lot of older people, and I do refer to them as older people because they're, 65 and better, as I like to say. A lot of them are choosing to move in with family members. A lot of them are being, forced to go to, facilities because they can't care for themselves. So you have to look to see what kind of opportunities are out there. You just need to know what's happening in your area. And threats. Threats are things we can't control. So what could happen that's, beyond your control, and how do we prepare for that? How many of you were prepared for COVID-19? Was anybody prepared when that happened and they shut everything down? I mean, we were very lucky in Florida. My sister-in-law is the real estate agent in Michigan, and for 3 months they couldn't even do real estate. They couldn't show houses or do anything. They were shut. The whole industry was shut down for 3 months. So, think about the threats that we have in our industry, things that we have no control over, but are you ready for it? We talked about remote online notarization, and thank God the state of Florida had just passed that bill that was enacted on January 1st, 2020, because it allowed us to facilitate a lot of closings that we probably wouldn't have been able to do because people weren't coming out of their houses, So think about, when you're thinking about your business plan, the first thing to do is take a look at that SWOT analysis. So when we talk about a business plan, it is a formal written document that contains your goals, the methods on how your goals can be attained, and the time frame within each goal needs to be achieved. So again, really important to write down your goals. And I read something recently, I'm gonna see if I can find it really quick because I really liked it. It was 3 things you should do every day. Hold on a minute. 3 things you should do every day. And if you start with this is a good starting. The 3 things I will focus on. So your priority for today, I will focus on. What is your priority? Because we all have a to-do list, and we all know that sometimes the to-do list, the same things we have on the list are on there tomorrow and on there the next day. But what is the one thing you want to focus on? One thing you're grateful for, right? The one thing that you're grateful for. And then the last thing is, and this is the big one thing I will let go of. One thing that I will let go of that's just making it hard for me, whether it's my personal life or my professional life. And I do that every morning now. I think of what I'm going to focus on, what I'm grateful for, and what I'm just going to let go. because we often take on so much that we don't need to take on, right? And it's going to interfere with what we really want to accomplish. So things to ask yourself: what are your values and your promises to your customers? So if you want to come off a mute and tell me, what are your values and promises to your customers? Anybody want to come off mute and talk about that? Hi, Scott.
Hi, my values and promises to our customers is to allow you guys to do what you do best. We ask that you guys go ahead and go out there, deal with your customers, be emotion control, handle everything that you can with your clients face-to-face, one-on-one, get the contract signed, and let us handle it from there as far as contract to closing. You guys deal with all the emotion, all the inspections, everything like that. We'll handle all the paperwork from there to the very end. We'll see you at the table and hand you a check. That's our promise.
So Linda, I'm going to pick on you because I can see your beautiful face. What are your values and your promises to your customers?
Well, my promise is education and service.
Okay, very
In
good.
other words, especially if it's a first-time home buyer, I like to work with them and educate them first, so they'll know what to expect and what not to expect. And then
Good.
I walk them through the whole process. And once
Now,
I close, I let them know I'm still available if they need me for something.
Good. Now, you know that Scott has a really great little packet of information he can send you on first-time home buyers?
No, I didn't know that.
He does.
That would be good.
It's a whole little, what to expect, and it walks them through all kinds of things. What's going to happen at closing, talks about mortgages, gives them a little checklist to compare properties. So ask Scott for that. He's happy to hand it to you. Anybody else want to talk about what's your values and promises to your customers?
Well, just to piggyback off of Miss Linda and what you just said about Scott having a package, I kind of made my own package similar to what he has probably in his.
Yeah, because it's a big investment. It is the biggest financial investment anybody ever makes, right? Buying a house.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Marriage is big, children are big, but the biggest financial investment is going to be that very first home. And so I love, Linda, that you're, all about the education. So thank you. Anybody else? And then talk about, do you like to work with buyers, sellers, or both?
I prefer buyers.
Yeah. Now, see, Linda, when I was a real estate agent in Michigan, I liked buyers too.
Mm-hmm.
And I would take everybody's buyers. Somebody would say, oh, they'll never be able to buy a house. They'll never be able to qualify. I sold real estate when interest rates were 17.5%. Can you imagine that? 17.5%. And I loved buyers. I loved working with buyers. A lot of people want to work with a specific population. I want to work with young people. I want to help older people, sell their home. I want to work with a certain generation. So, what do you want to work with? And do you specialize in a particular real estate niche? So things to be thinking about, questions to ask yourself. So when you're starting to create your business plan, you have to look at your budget, right? How much is everything going to cost me? Do I have to pay for printing, advertising, signage, office rent? How much am I paying to do an open house if we ever do open houses again? Promotional items, thank you items, training. So, you have to really look at your budget from last year, not only this year coming up, but last year. How much, how much did I spend last year? And, were my costs more than what I made in commission? Probably not last year. Probably last year was a good year. But think about it. What months were better than other months? Where did I need to focus my attention not only for the whole year, but every month, because every month is different. Who's your target market? We talked about that. Buyers, sellers, for sale by owners. Are there any for sale by owners out there? Are there still people trying to sell their homes by themselves, or have they all smartened up and realized they need a real estate agent? Which we hope is the answer. REOs and short sales, are those going to come back? Chances are we will see some of those later in this year. Commercial, new construction. I know at the beginning, before some of you joined, we talked about the fact that a lot of people are going to some kind of builder event today, open house, and then luncheon. New construction is going crazy. I have a friend who's a title agent for a new construction for a builder, and they're running into the same situation you guys are with residential resale. There's just not enough houses. And who's your competitor? How many of you look at your competitors' websites? You really should go and look and see what your competitors are doing. What does their branding look like? What does their content and information look like online? You really want to see what your competitors' core strengths and weaknesses are. You know, what does their advertising say about them? Because we all need to be seeing, you know, what's going on there, not just with me, but with everybody else that I'm competing with in this industry. Are they doing something different? Are they doing something better? You know, have they just been in the business longer than I have? So really, to me, one of the key components is, you know, look at your competitors, you know, to see what they're doing. And I'm sure Scott does that, don't you, Scott?
Scott logged off to go to a few closings.
He left.
He
Yeah.
did. He wrote in the chat to you, but he then talked, so I didn't want to interrupt.
Okay. All right. So again, we talked about your budget, printing, advertising, signs, office rent, open house, promotional, thank you, training. Look at all the things that you have to spend in order to be successful, right? You know, people think, oh, real estate is so easy, you're making this big commission, but they don't look at how much money that you've spent in order to sell a house, right? And I'm sure there's, you know, a lot of money that goes in. I know when I was a real estate agent, you know, some of the stuff was paid because, you know, through my company, but some of it I paid for on my own, right? So think about your expenses and, you know, how much you want to spend on all of these items. To me, a lot of the important things are thank yous, and we don't do enough on that. And sometimes just a simple thank you card, and that doesn't cost very much. Your training, you know, are you getting training everywhere and anywhere you can, especially right now where you don't even have to leave the comforts of your home? You know, training is much easier. You don't have to go anywhere. You don't have to dress up. You know, that's the one thing that I will have to tell you that I really liked about this kind of training is, you know, my new work attire is, you know, yoga pants and a shirt. I don't have to wear a dress every day. My pearls and my high heels that hurt my feet. I'm very comfy, right?
Yeah.
Sitting in my home being comfy. We talked about your target market, your demographics, sellers, buyers, for sale by owners, REOs. How many of you worked REOs the last time back in 2008? Yeah, remember how much fun they were? And short sales, remember how much fun those were? I always said that short sale was the biggest oxymoron since jumbo shrimp, because there was nothing short about the short sale. They took forever. Commercial, surprisingly, commercials coming back. We did see a lull in commercial last year, A lot of people were afraid to build commercial buildings because they were like, oh my God, what if we don't have any occupants? But I think we see commercial coming back in things like gas stations and stores and apartment buildings, and again, new construction. So do you specialize in a niche market? Do you go after for sale by owners? Are you looking for people who are just looking to move down here for a resort or a vacation home? People who live up north half of the year and want to come down to Florida where it's nice the second half of the year, right? Single women, that is a big market. There are a lot of single women out there. And what do you think single women are looking for in a property? What do you think they're looking for? Anybody?
Security.
Security. So they're probably looking at a condo or a gated community, you know, right, Joyce?
Yes. We were in the MLS Technology Committee meeting yesterday about adding options to MLS that are the safety features in neighborhoods and communities and in residences, and what can we add in the MLS so that they know they're going to be safe.
Yeah, and not only single women, but I think we're seeing more of that with people with younger families. They want to make sure their kids are safe, right?
Yes, plus the seniors want to make sure they're safe too.
Oh boy, don't we?
Everybody's concerned with safety now.
Yep. You know, baby boomers and seniors, CRES. By the year 2030, we're going to have 75 million people who are seniors. 75 million people. That's a lot of folks. And most of those folks are, you know, going to sell their big homes and, like I said, either move into a small home, they might rent, they might move in with their kids, they might go to a nursing home. But, you know, think about your CRES. Yes, Joyce.
I was just going to say, what year did you say that was?
2030.
2030. And yes,
That's
I have
only,
SRES.
yeah, that's only 9 years away. And in Florida, when they talk about the elderly, in Florida, they're talking about 60 years plus 1 day. So if you're 60 years old in 1 day, they're going to consider you an elderly, you know, which to me amazes me, because to me, 60 is not old anymore. 80 is old. And, you know, it just seems the older we get, the older old is, right?
Amen.
Linda talked about, and I think, is it, I don't want to screw up your name, Alviria?
Yes,
Oh, got it right, good.
perfect.
First-time home buyers, right? Boy, that's a great niche to have, because
Absolutely.
because not only are they going to be a first-time home buyer, they're going to have a lot of friends who are going to be first-time home buyers, and you do a great job. Guess who they're going to go to when they want to buy their second home, their bigger home, right?
Yes.
Come right back to you. Do you specialize in condominiums? Do you want to specialize in commercial? So, you know, think about the different niche markets you can be in. Your sphere of influence, those are anybody who could help you get business, and here's some ways that you can make them a sphere of influence. So how many of you send something of value monthly? And it doesn't have to be monetary, but when I say value monthly, how many of you send out something to all the people on your list, as I like to call it, something every month of what's going on in the market? That is a really good thing to do. Send it to your current customers, send it to your past customers, and send it to the ones you're working with now. What's going on in the market? I would say right now, if I was a real estate agent, I'd be finding articles about how interest rates are down and now is a good time to buy a house. I'd be talking about anything that's happening that's really great in your community that you want to share, and why now is a good time to buy or sell in this particular community. You know, anything that you can think of that is of value is so important to them. How many of you send handwritten birthday cards or handwritten anniversary cards? And when I say anniversary, I don't mean their wedding anniversary. I mean the anniversary of when you last worked with them. You know, I can't believe, Linda, it's been a year since, you know, I sold you your house. I hope everything is going well, you know. And the best thing about handwritten cards are you can put your business cards in them and they can give them to other people who might be looking. So I'm a big handwritten person. I will tell you that when I get my mail, the first thing I open is anything that's handwritten to me. Very first thing. Anybody sending out handwritten cards to their people?
Yes,
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Anybody else? Are we getting any answers in the
Yep.
chat?
Yep. Helen says yes, birthday and home anniversary.
Yay. Thank you, Alan. You know, when things get better, hold a client appreciation event. You know, how many of you are remembering them on holidays? How many of you sent your customers a Christmas card? Thanksgiving card. I'm thankful that I have the, you know, I've had the opportunity to work with you. All of those kind of things are things that they will remember you by. You know, because they forget us really quickly, don't they? But if you keep sending them things, they'll remember. How many of you are sending out monthly or quarterly market reports as to what's going on in the market? How many of you make it a habit to call someone every day and ask for a referral? You need to put that in your calendar.
So Amy says that she sends annual Christmas cards to all her customers. And they do call or contact me afterwards. And then Helen says that she also hosts client appreciation parties.
Yay. All good things. Include your clients in your blogs or on your website. You know, they can be a great sphere of influence for you. Ask them to write you a letter of recommendation and ask them to allow you to post it on your website. I will tell you, and I know we probably have some young folk on the call, the younger generation, the Gen X and the Gen Y, they are all about that. What does other people have to say about them? They're the people that post on Yelp when something goes wrong.
I do look at those quite often. So
Yeah.
definitely seeing what other people thought or felt.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, so really important, you know, is think about who your sphere of influence is and who can help you grow your business. 90% of all people turn to the internet for real estate inquiries. 90% of people. Sometimes it's not the very first thing they do. Sometimes they're asking their friends and family, you know, what kind of experience did you have with somebody? But they're looking at your website. They're looking to see if you're on Facebook. They're looking for people on LinkedIn. How many of you post your homes for sale on YouTube? How many of you have a YouTube video about yourself posted? Anybody have a YouTube video? I mean, you young kids should be all jumping all over that YouTube video. You know, and you can put it on your website and link it to your YouTube. Zillow. Popular among younger folk now is Instagram. You know, so think about all the ways that you can online market, not just website anymore, not just Facebook anymore, but, you know, think beyond. And I think you're going to see a lot of YouTube and a lot of Instagram. I will tell you, I have an Instagram account. I have no idea how to use it. My granddaughter set it up. So look at your competitors or your colleagues. we talked about this a little bit at the very beginning. You know, do you all know who your biggest competitors are? Does anybody know who their biggest competitor is? And more importantly, do you know why? What is their core strengths that make them your biggest competitor? Anybody sharing there, April? So think about who your biggest
I'm looking.
competitors are. Huh? You're looking? Okay.
Yeah, there's nothing right now. Nothing
Okay.
added.
Okay. So, you know, look at their core strengths, their weaknesses. Again, look at their website. See what they're doing on their website. Do you like it? Don't you like it? Is there something that you want to, as I like to say, borrow, because they're doing a really good job of it? What are they doing advertising wise? And if you're young in the business, and I don't mean young as in age, I mean young as you haven't been in it really long, find yourself a great mentor. And if you've been in the business a long time, be a mentor. Be a mentor, because we see a lot of people getting into the industry. I remember I started as a real estate secretary in 1968. Yep, that long ago, before most of you were born. And back then, most real estate agents were either housewives or they were men who had retired from their previous job and now they were selling real estate. Very few people, it was a full-time career. And now I think we're seeing people getting into the industry as a full-time career. So how many of you on this call are doing this as a full-time career now? Anybody? Yep.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
What do you define as a full-time career? Like I have a full-time job with Department of the Navy. However, I'm invested in real estate full-time.
Okay. So is it a full, do you feel that you're giving, you know, everything you can to it? Then it would be a full-time career for you. Is it something that you want to do forever? Or is it something you just want to dabble in right now because there's a lot of real estate market available? So, you know, you really want to be thinking about how much effort and time do I want to put into this career, right?
Right. So I came to it because I started investing in real estate and my husband just felt like it made sense for me to get my license. And so I am right now, I have 5 active buyers, 3
Good.
listings. So again, I'm up to 2 o'clock in the morning, back up at 5:30 a.m. So I'm definitely invested full time.
You are definitely invested full time. And how much is your husband helping you with it?
He's more like a project management hands-on. So he does
Okay.
the work. So
Okay.
he's invested full time.
Okay. So, and do you have a mentor?
I don't.
Yeah, think about getting a mentor, somebody who can, and it doesn't even have to be somebody in the real estate business, just somebody, a lot of people now have career coaches, life coaches. I myself, at my age, I have just this year, well, last few months, gotten a life coach. You know, because my life is going to change in a few years. I'm going to retire and I have to be thinking about what do I want the next part of my life to be. And, you know, I would have never thought at 68 and a half years old, I'd be talking to a life coach, but, you know, somebody, a mentor, somebody you can bounce ideas against, you know, and some people are really good at that. I mean, I've been a mentor for people many, many, many times in this industry. So, you know, latch on to a good mentor of any kind. You should focus every day on results, not activities. I see people say, well, I've done a lot today, but what were the results of what you did? Because sometimes we do activities that really are not going to help us. Remember I said I'm going to focus on the one thing you're going to focus on today? That's something you're going to get a result out of. Concentrate on achieving new clients every week. You have to sit back and determine what is working and what needs your help, what needs your attention. So what am I doing that's working, and what am I doing that really needs my attention, and maybe I need to rethink the way I'm doing it. When you sit down to do your business plan, and pretty much when you sit down to do anything, you have to have your best positive mental and emotional state for planning. You know, don't pick a day when things are going wrong to say, you know what, I think I'll come up with a business plan, because it is not going to be good. Pick a positive mental and emotional great day for you to do your planning. And you may be somebody that says, you know, I'm going to plan out the whole year. You may be somebody who says, I'm just going to plan out the next month. And for a lot of people, that smaller chunk will help. Then maybe the next year you'll feel more comfortable and you say, you know what, I think I can plan for per quarter. And then, you know, till you build up to, I think I can plan for a whole year. But right now, with things the way they are and the uncertainty of the way the new norm will be, I think that if I was doing it right now, I would be just planning for the next month. What do I need to do for the next month? What are my goals for the next month? What do I want to achieve in the next month? What will I focus on? And go month to month, just so that you can, you know, otherwise it's going to be very overwhelming. And then you're going to say, you know what, I'm not even going to bother doing this. And that's what we see people do. And I will tell you that it normally takes 6 times to get something to happen. You know, habits don't just happen overnight. If you do something, they say 6 times, it will eventually become a habit. Whether it's a good habit or it's a bad habit, it'll become a habit. You know, it's like when you decide, you know what, I'm going to start walking every day. And you do it for 6 days, and then pretty soon it's pretty easy to do it. But if you do it and then you don't do it for 2 or 3 days, and then you do it for a day again, and you say, oh, it's raining all week, I'll wait till next week. So, you know, about 6 times in order to form a habit, good or bad. Things that you can do to achieve your goals, networking, aligning yourself with good partners, like Scott's offices, good lenders, good inspectors. You know, align yourself with good partners. Yeah, I know they are doing virtual open houses. We talked about sending out emails and cards and brochures, your visibility. Knowledge and training, the more you know, the more you'll be able to let your customers know what's going on. And that's so important. The more you know, the more they know. And it just makes you that much stronger of a person. Work your referrals. And, you know, I believe you need to work your referrals every single day. I believe you need to set a time every day, and that's when you're working referrals. I'm sending out emails, I'm making phone calls, I'm sending out cards or letters. Every single day, you need to set time out to work your referrals.
Hey, Sue. So
Yes.
Ollie just wrote in, and he said that on the subject of mentors, he has done audiobooks since the 1980s, excuse me. You can get these books almost anywhere and on any subject. One of my early real estate trainers taught us to try and do 2 things at once. Audiobooks allow this. So he said he's always listening to something while he's cooking, cleaning.
That's good. Yeah, I'm reading right now a book called The Buddha and the Badass. The Buddha and the Badass. And it is the secret spiritual art of succeeding at work. And it says everybody has both inside. You have your spiritual master, that's the person who can live in the world, but also moves with an ease, grace, and flow that comes from inner awareness and alignment. And then you have your badass, and that's the person who's out there creating change, building, coding, writing, inventing, leading, and disrupting the status quo. But
Mm,
I'm with Ollie. I'm reading that. I'm reading Six Thinking Hats about different types of people. But I'm with Ollie. I have half of my books here at home now, half of my books still at the office. But I'm always reading something about, how to help myself in business. And so Ollie, thank you for sharing, because that is a great way. Audiobooks, reading books, whatever you want to do. If you just get one little thing out of it, one
Mhm.
thing, it's well worth the read.
okay. Mhm.
And, I read a lot of books about attitude, because everything starts with a positive attitude. You can't be successful if you're not living in that positive attitude. And so many people, think doom and gloom. And you got to think positive. So monthly updates, list 3 to 5 ways that you can, and this is in the handout I gave you, list 3 to 5 ways that you'll generate leads that will become new client sales and listings to reach your goal. Write down your specific activities needed to achieve the objective: phone calls, blogs, mailings, search engine efforts, open houses. Record and review your number of new client sales and listings for the month and compare those with your monthly and year-to-date goals. And select the projects and activities that are most likely to help you achieve your goal and will help you achieve your following months and your annual goal. And like I said, this information is in that handout I gave you. So like I said, if you just start now, plan for March. Plan for March. What are you going to do in March? How are you going to achieve your goals? How did you do in January? Look back at January and February. And how did you do? You always should be looking at the past month, the month you're in, and the month ahead. And what do I need to achieve my goals? Examine your financial books. You might have to make budget changes. You might have to really look at, where did I spend my money last year, and was it worth spending my money there, or do I want to do something else? Talk to agents who are currently successful mentors. One of the things you can do is, join a among yourselves, join a mastermind group. Say, hey, let's all get together and let's discuss things that are going on. Let's talk about our industry. I don't know if NEFAR has anything like that. Do they have any kind of mastermind program at NEFAR? So develop your own, Say to April, hey, why don't we try to get all these people who come to these webinars, and let's see if we can get a mastermind group. Because, you're going to find that a lot of people have great ideas, and they're willing to share those great ideas. Some people are struggling and they're looking for great ideas. Read and research your market statistics. You should always know what's going on in your market. What's selling, why it's selling, for how much. What's the traffic coming in and out? I know Joyce said that somebody from Canada is coming down to Jacksonville. And that's going to be some job openings. Follow through on your monthly updates and reassess your real estate plan every year so that you can set new goals and projections. Got some background noise here. I hope it's not me. So it's not Tuesday. I don't know why this slide is on here. It's not really Tuesday. It's really Thursday. Does anybody have any questions or comments or anything they want to include? Anybody want to unmute and talk about anything? Please feel free.
You kind of skipped through that last slide really quick. Can you show it again?
Yes.
Because that's not in the notes.
Does anybody have a mastermind group within their real estate company?
No.
Yes, we have several with eXp Realty.
Good. And do you
Mhm.
find that helps?
Oh, it helps all the time. We actually do that in our upline. We have it every Monday.
Okay.
And it's some of our top, producers that are well known that have joined eXp here lately. So it's really good stuff.
And you find that helps you?
Oh, absolutely. I'm always learning something new, and they post different ones that, are actual events, and they bring top coaches in as well. So it's a great setup.
That is great.
Any information that you can learn is always a good thing.
Yeah,
So
I always
thanks.
tell people if you learn one thing, it's a good event, right?
It is, and this has been helpful. So I appreciate you doing this.
Oh, you are more than welcome, my dear. April, do we have any other comments?
Yeah, Marika just posted in. She's saying she's just talking about her mastermind class that she has in the works. So if you look in there, you can see her email and you can reach out to her for questions. And that's pretty much all the new stuff that I'm seeing right now.
Good. So yeah, if you want to join Marie's mastermind group, it's a good thing to get together and really talk about what's going on in your market and, strategize together. Because I know you guys are coming from all different areas, right? I know we have some people from Jacksonville. We have some people from Orange Park. We got probably some people on the beach, So don't be afraid to share. That's how we learn. I mean, that's all I do all day is share with people. That's how they learn. So I want to thank all of you for coming. What is our next class, April?
Our next class is March 18th. And it's the, I can never say this word, I'm sorry, municipals, liens, and
PACE. Is it municipal
yes,
liens and
PACE.
PACE? Okay. And I will tell you that you probably want to come to that one for two things. Number one, municipal liens are the biggest issue that we face right now because they're not a public record. And secondly, PACE is getting ready to make some changes. They just passed House Bill 387. We're going to see a lot of changes to PACE. And although Duval County, the city of Jacksonville says they'll never do it, they may be pressured by the state to do it because the state is all about energy. And so the state of Florida is all behind PACE financing, but there's going to be all kinds of new rules to PACE, which are going to benefit the people who are getting PACE loans, as well as additional items that you can get PACE financing for. So you'll be the first ones to get a sneak peek at what is going to change on July 1st with new House Bill 387 and PACE. So thank you to everyone. I'm going to give you 7 minutes back. So if you're going to go to the builders thing, you'll have time to still get ready. And thank you, April, for hosting today. April's sitting in the cold. April's got snow and cold, right?
It's still snowing. It's so funny. We're supposed to get a bunch.
Oh, wow.
Supposed to get a bunch, but we will, just so everyone knows, we will have a recording of this course onto the U.S. Patriot Title website, and I just put the link to the page where it's going to be in the chat if you need it. So we'll make sure that gets up there probably the beginning of next week. It takes a little while to get these longer videos on YouTube, so you can look for that kind of beginning of next week. We have some of our previous recorded webinars on there. We do not put the CE credit courses up just because it's just too confusing and we don't want people to think that they're getting credit when they're not. So, but this one we'll be able to put up there so you can look out for that at the beginning of next week.
Thank you very much, April, and thank you to everybody who attended.